What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Taurean Reloaded channel. If you are new, make sure you go ahead, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video or go live. Also, be sure to like, comment, and share this content on your various social media platforms so we can bring as many eyes to this channel as possible. So, this is another story time video right here, and this is the story. This story is about the time I had to get 2 surgeries in the same year on both of my feet. I had to get a surgery on my left foot and a surgery on my right foot. So with this story, we're going to take it all the way back to my freshman year of high school. So yes, we are going back to 2003. So basically, to kind of speed things up a little bit with the story, because there's a lot of moving parts with the story. I found out in 2003, after going to a foot doctor, that I was going to have surgery on not one, but both of my feet. Not because they were broken or anything like that, but because of something that could not be prevented. Basically, what happened was when my mother was pregnant with me, my foot pressed up against her womb. And of course, when you're an embryo, when you're a baby, you're inside of your mother's womb, it's the bone density is not strong. So what happened was my foot pressed up against her womb, causing it to not look like this, but almost kind of go like this. So when I would walk, my feet would go out like this. And the doctor basically said, if I did not get this surgery before a certain age, I ran the risk of facing possibility of getting arthritis at a very early age. And when he said early age, he's talking about before I even entered my 20s. So we're talking about at least by 18. So they said it's best that I get it now and not have to deal with issues down the line. So, imagine being a then 14-year-old having to hear that. That's real scary. So I found that out like in 2003, my parents scheduled for me to have the surgery in February of 2004, which was a few months later. So right before, or the night before, I was set to have the surgery, I was still going to school and everything like that. We actually had a trip that we had to go to, and ironically, the trip involved a lot of walking. So, it's crazy looking back at it, because one of my teachers had basically said, this is going to be the last time you're going to be walking for a while, and everything like that. And I kind of laughed nervously because they already knew I was about to have the surgery. I already had discussion with all my teachers and the principal saying, look, I'm going to be out for a while because I'm about to get the surgery. So that was really the last time for a while that I was walking. So the next day came, I had to get up extra early because it was an early surgery. Had to get up, go down to, I believe it was in DC, to have the surgery be done on the first foot. I can't remember exactly what foot it was on. I think it was the left foot that I had the first surgery on. So I went there. This is my first time actually being exposed to having a surgery. I've never had a surgery a day in my life, so this was all new to me. It was kind of scary, but we made it work. So went down there, they put the IV in me, the anesthesia, put the anesthesia in me, and I'm telling you, that's some of the best sleep you will ever get. Hands down. A sleeping pill can never compare. I'm just saying. So they put the anesthesia in me. They prepped me and everything like that. Had to wear the robe. I think I did have, my underwear on. That's the only thing I had on underneath the robe. Then went in the room, and it's like a bunch of lights and nurses and doctors, and the table is right there. And then I noticed, I looked over to the side and saw the table that clearly had the tools they were going to use, but they had some of it covered. But some of the stuff I could see, like I saw drills, I saw scalpels. Like I said, let me look away so I don't psych myself out about this. And, I get on the table and I just lay down there. And, me being the 14-year-old that I am, I'm trying to fight the anesthesia, knowing I'm fighting an uphill battle that I know I'm not going to win. And then all of a sudden, I'm just like, looking up at the light like that. And all of a sudden, out. Just that fast. But then we ran into an issue. So I woke up, in recovery, and I noticed that the roof of my mouth was hurting. And I'm like, why is the roof of my mouth hurting? I'm here, getting a surgery on my foot. Basically, something happened in the operating room where I had a bad reaction to the anesthesia. I don't know if it was an allergy or if they gave me too much, but I think I had too much. they probably gave me a little more than I was supposed to get. You got to think when it's coming to anesthesia, you have to take into consideration the age of the person. I'm 14, I'm not 24. So I think I might have had too much, and I probably felt too much under. And when they tried to make sure I was good, something must have happened, and they had to abort the surgery right there. And what happened was the tube that they had, the breathing tube that they had down my throat, they had to yank it out. And what happened was the cord, the tube, cut the roof of my mouth. So I had this cut on the roof of my mouth, and it hurt so bad to the point where it was hard for me to drink anything, even water, because I had a cut right there on the roof of my mouth. And it was very uncomfortable. And then of course they couldn't finish the surgery, so all I had on my foot was some gauze and an ace bandage, because all they made was a small little incision. They didn't finish the surgery. So what turned into, or what was supposed to be a 1-day surgery, ended up turning into a 2-day. So what happened was, after I was able to move a little bit from the anesthesia, they sent me home. And then I had to come back the next day to finish the procedure. So it's like, you gotta finish what you start. So they made sure this time when they put me under to not go and have so much anesthesia this time. And this time it was a success. When I woke up and looked at my foot, well, I could only see the top of my kneecap, because I had a cast that went from the bottom of my foot all the way to the top of my leg. So all I could see was my kneecap. That's the only part that I could see, from my kneecap all the way up to my thigh on my left side. And the surgery was a success. So I ended up staying, home. I had to get my assignments from school sent to me. Then I had to have my dad take the assignments up to the school. Keep in mind, the school that I went to probably was a good 20, almost 30-minute drive, because I didn't go to the school that was close to me. I went to another school to take the assignments in as I was completing them every single week. The recovery. Now, here's the crazy part about me. I'm not a person that likes to take pills. I don't like taking pills. So they gave me, the pain meds. They said, take these if you're feeling any type of pain while the recovery is happening and everything like that. So, like I said, I don't like taking pills because I'm afraid that I might get an addiction. And then you hear all the stories about people getting addicted to pain pills and all types of stuff like that. And I didn't want that. So I didn't even pop the cap. Like, when how you pop the cap off of something and you can tell when the cap has been popped. I didn't even do that. And it shocked the hell out of the doctor when I went in there to get the cast removed and get x-rays for the first time since my surgery. And I'm going to talk about that. He was like, never in all my years of practice have I ever had a patient never take not at least one pain pill. You didn't take any. I literally healed naturally without any pain meds, because I really didn't have that much pain, because all I really could do was lay down and keep my leg elevated. That's all I could do for the next few weeks. I couldn't walk anywhere. I couldn't move the way I wanted to. That's all I could do. The only time I really went out was to go for the follow-ups, like to take the cast off, get the x-rays. And let me tell you something. The first time I got the cast taken off, it was a bloody mess. Not because of any stitches coming out or anything like that, thank God, but it was just blood, dried up blood. Like when they cut the cast off, and I'm so glad they did, because that stuff starts to itch after a while, because it's closed in space. And my leg had went down so much as far as weight goes. It was like my skin was flabby. It was like literally flabbing like this. It was almost fragile, like to the point where if someone was to kind of kick my leg, my bone would probably break, because that's how much weight I lost in the leg. But when they took the cast off for the first time, it was so much dried up blood there. It looked like a murder scene. It looked like they should have threw some caution tape, some yellow tape up. Do not come across this line when I looked at it. So after that, they took the cast off, and then they had to help me stand up, because I had to stand up to do the x-ray. And so I had crutches and all of that good stuff. When they took the x-ray and I saw my foot, the inside, they had 2 screws that were like this long. They looked like they could have, I can't really gauge how long they were, probably like 2 inches. 2 screws that was into the back of my foot, and I think another screw on the top of the foot, like inside on the top of the foot. Basically, it was a foot correction surgery. That's basically what it was. They basically corrected my foot from going like this to moving in like this, almost like they broke my foot. and just reconstructed it. And that's basically how the x-rays went. I think I did about, with that first one, I think I probably did about 2 or 3 follow-ups and everything like that. And then after a while, I was able to stop wearing the cast and then go into a boot. Now, when I started to go into the boot, that's when I was able to start going to physical therapy. Now, I'm kind of fast forwarding the story a little bit. Went into, physical therapy. That was fun. I actually like going to physical therapy. It was a bit rough because it's like you got to learn how to use that body part all over again. Something you're used to always doing all the time. But then it's like, it's almost like a newborn baby trying to walk for the first time. That's basically how I was, with the crutches and everything. One thing I did like about this whole thing is I was able to get pushed around in the wheelchair. I felt like I was Professor X. I was moving around. I thought I was like, if you gave me a basketball, I could have been like one of those guys who do wheelchair basketball. I was like doing this. I was like, I wonder if I could pop a wheelie. The things that go through a 14-year-old's mind when it comes to something like that. But yeah, but one of the scariest parts about the first surgery outside of, the anesthesia part was when I was able to go back to school. Now, I told you the surgery was in February. I was probably at home recovering for about 6 weeks. So you're talking about I was out for like a month and some change. And I came back right at the tail end, right before the school year was out. So probably around that April range. And we got out of school like towards the end of May or early June. And I was still on the crutches. I had the boot. I was able to go back, but I think the first day back was scary because, I was still, riding the bus. And when I was getting on or getting off the bus to go into the school, they would let me get out first. I didn't go to the back of the bus like I usually would. I was sitting near the front. So I would be the first person off the bus. So I got the crutches, got up and was going down the steps. And all of a sudden, I guess I got ahead of myself. One of the crutches was on one step above and the other one was below and it wasn't balanced. So I kind of moved back like this and fell literally off of the bus and onto the ground. I'm so lucky that I fell and was able to kind of catch myself, because if not, I could have easily face planted onto the curb and that would have been catastrophic right there. And I was literally laid right there on the ground and they had to help me up. And I said, you know what? I'm not ready to come back just yet. I wasn't. I don't think I was ready. So I literally, had my teacher call my dad to come pick me up and take me home. I was sitting in the classroom, literally crying. People was wondering what was going on with me, and I didn't want to say anything. I'm glad my teacher did not say anything either. They were just, but they were just concerned and worried about me. Like I said, I was sitting in the classroom crying. Like literally head in hand like this, crying, not doing the boo-hoo ugly cry, but just tears were falling out of my eyes. So I left early that day, literally left as soon as I got there, and said, I don't think I'm ready to go back just yet. So they let me stay home for like another week or two. And then after that, we got some kind of rhythm going. And then it went from there. I was still on the crutches and everything like that. But one of the best moments, of course, was when I finally was able to not have to use the crutches anymore. That means I'm making progress. The physical therapy is working. And now I have this boot on. And of course, the process of the cast and the boot, then maybe a shoe. And then you can put your foot back into a regular shoe. So that's basically the process, like kind of getting over the fluff of it all. And that's how I pretty much went. That was the first surgery. Now, keep in mind, I said 2 surgeries in 1 year. So what happened on the left had to be done to the right. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So keep in mind, the first surgery I had was in February of that year. My next surgery was literally probably a month and some change after I got back into the swing of things of putting my foot into a regular shoe and walking. Now, I wasn't running or anything like that, but I was kind of walking. I still kind of had a little bit of a limp, but not one that was too noticeable. So keep in mind, June rolls around, summer is here, we're out of school and got to do the school thing, just trying to kid back and chill. Not me. I already knew my summer was shot when they told me I had to have 2 surgeries in 1 year, and they were almost back to back after the recovery phase of the first one. So my summer was done. So without having to go through the whole process again of mentioning the details, everything that pretty much happened with the surgery on the left foot was the same process on the right foot. The only difference this time is there was no mishaps with the anesthesia. Everything went fine, flawlessly. Of course, I think the best part about this is that this was the summertime and it wasn't a school year, so I didn't have to worry about any schoolwork or anything like that. I just spent the summer recovering. And the perfect part about it is, even though my summer was pretty much shot and I couldn't do anything, the regular teenage stuff like hang with my friends and all kinds of good stuff like that, I was able to recover. That way, by the time school got back in August, which was the end of August at that point, I was fine. Like literally, I didn't have to worry about being on crutches at school, having to worry about wearing a boot at school or wearing a special shoe at school. Everything that I did during the second part of the school year, in the first surgery, I didn't have to worry about, because in the summer, surgery over the summer, physical therapy in the summer, the crutches summer, wheelchair summer, boot summer, shoe summer. By the time school got back in, I was pretty much good. I still had a little bit of tension there because it was still recovery. I don't think I was completely all the way healed until probably a year from that point. Because I think I'm literally doing back-to-back surgeries twice in the same year. It would have made no sense to me doing one surgery 1 year and then have to wait a whole year and then do the next one. They said, just let's knock them out in the same year, but it would be impossible to have him do or have me do both surgeries at the same time, because I need to move around somehow, some way. So I would be completely immobile if I had both surgeries happen at the same time. That's kind of absurd when you think about it. But yeah, that's pretty much my story when it comes to the first time. Well, ironically, that's the first time I ever had surgery. And I think, now that I think about it, I think that's the only time I ever had surgery in my life. Hope, God willing, maybe if I'm lucky, that'll be the only time too. Having 2 surgeries in 1 year. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Y'all let me know down in the comments, like, any surgery stories that y'all might have. Like, they don't have to be all dramatic, they just, get straight to the point, but just let me know what y'all think about the story that I just told you. Let me know your surgical stories, if you have any, down in the comments below. What was the process like? How did everything go for you? What was the recovery like? It is what it is. And with that being said, that's my take on it.